One of our favorite jobs that we ever do for striping and pavement maintenance is airport work. Love airports. So in this video, I'm going to answer some of the common questions or give you some things to think about so that you can go acquire your own airport jobs this year. What's happening, Pod Squad? Thank you for watching, and big shout out to our sponsor of this episode, which is Mighty Line. What's the website? mightylinetape.com/stripe it. Go there. They'll give you a sample kit of their products for free because you sponsor the show or because you listen to the show. So let's talk about airports. This is something I've alluded to many a times on the podcast because I love airports. And I want you to love airports too. I'm specifically talking to you stripers out there. Striping an airport is a really potentially lucrative opportunity from a revenue standpoint and a profitability standpoint. Before I get into the real, this is a quick disclaimer. Like, the way the airports are done in Canada is probably going to be different than the United States. Fundamentally, though, I'm going to tell you some things that apply to either country. Pretty soon, we're all going to be one country anyway, so it doesn't matter. Sorry, Matt. I'm so sorry. Bleep that out. Here's what we need to talk about. Number one, estimating airports. So you have heard me talk about on YouTube before, or if you haven't, if you're new, welcome, like and subscribe. One thing I talk about a lot on the podcast and YouTube is, like, when you do big jobs, don't view it as like one big intimidating job. Like, just view it as like 5 little jobs. And I think for airports, you have to do the same thing. Like, yes, if you're standing on a runway, it's super intimidating because it's like, it looks ginormous because it's long. But when you're just looking at it on a Google Earth image, it's like, oh, it's no big deal. One thing I want you to watch out for, though, don't panic about the size of the airport. It's a lot of paint. Don't worry. When you estimate it, you're going to be putting down a lot of material. One of the things that can easily trip up a new airport estimator is converting the width of the pavement markings. So you and I, as stripers, we're used to dealing in everything in 4-inch paint lines, right? Well, at airports, you're going to see a lot of 6-inch paint lines. You're going to see some 8-inch, and you're going to see some 12-inch as well. You might see some weird combos of like 4-4-4, like a black, yellow, black. That's an enhanced taxi line. So there's lots of markings like that, and you just got to be careful when you're estimating. The easiest thing in our experience to do is to take the width of the marking and just convert it to a 4-inch marking for estimating purposes. Okay. So what I mean by that is, you know, if it's an 8-inch line at 1,000 feet, we would basically account for that 2,000 feet of material because we're converting the 8-inch to the 4-inch. Okay. So just be careful of that. If you're estimating off of drawings, you will see like a breakdown of the width of those markings. If there is no drawings and you're just restriping an airport, make sure that you do a site visit and you clarify those width of those markings. Don't lose money by estimating those incorrectly. Number 2, how do you actually get airport jobs? This is where it's going to be a little bit different depending on which part of the world you're in and honestly how big the airport is. So big airports, Toronto, New York, all these places, they have like dedicated line painting crews at their airports. So when I say we love airport work, most of the airports that our company is striping is like smaller aerodrome type airports. These are like small regional airports. Sometimes it's as small as like a tiny runway and one taxi line to a hangar. Like, they could be really small. So in our experience, what's worked really well is connecting directly with the municipalities who are in charge of those airports. Okay. So this might be different depending what state you're in, but essentially someone is responsible for that airport or that aerodrome. Your job is to go find that person. If you can find them, treat it like a normal sales call. Basically, you're going to ask good questions. You're going to ask how they approach their line striping now, and basically find your way to get in there. So most of the time when we're restriping an airport, it's usually us dealing with a municipal contact. Sometimes it's public works. Sometimes it's like a chief administrative officer. There will be someone that you can connect to. I will say that it's helpful if in your marketing, whether that's on like your LinkedIn or even on your company page, that you talk about airport striping. So we came in and did crack sealing and seal coating of the entire runway, because even today we will get leads, inbound leads from regional airports who have found us online because we talk about airport striping. So make sure that your marketing lines up with that. I mean, the wheelhouse. It says wheelhouse. Sorry. So last thing that I want you to think about is, let's say you acquire a airport striping job, I'm pumped for you. Go kill it. When you're actually on the job site, though, a couple things that you want to keep in mind. Number one, well, hopefully you clarified this before you get to the job site, but glass beads are often a thing. So a lot of people don't know this, but you never put glass beads on black paint. Don't ever do that. So if you ever see black paint on an airport, go paint it like normal. Do not put glass beads on black paint unless they specify it, which tell them don't do that. That's not a thing. If you are going to use glass beads, and that's kind of a newer thing for you, you have to be really careful if you're using a gravity fed system. Okay. So like a drop bead dispenser. So basically that's just a tank of glass beads that sits on your striper. When you squeeze the trigger, it just opens up this little gate and some glass beads fall down. You have to be careful because sometimes, depending on the wind, depending on how you got it set up, it might not put a lot or enough glass beads down. You also might have an issue getting the width down correctly. You also might have a problem if you're using solvent-borne paint. That on a warm day, man, that solvent-borne paint dries so fast and your glass beads might not adhere very well. So it is better to have a pressurized bead system if you're doing airports. It's not the end of the world, but you will see some airports require it, especially on like if they're milling and paving, a runway. The line painting specs will often say pressurized bead system. So if that happens, do not cut a corner. You have to use a pressurized bead system when that happens. Often in our experience, though, no one's testing for like retroreflective meters with the readings on them. No one's actually out there with the little device, but you still have to make sure that you do a good job. So if you're new to glass beads, definitely get some practice in on a parking lot. Go stripe some lines with that glass bead dispenser on so that when you get to the airport, you don't run into any issues with an inspector or somebody, a consultant who's on that job trying to make sure that it's reflective enough. We've had that happen before, and I promise you it's not very fun. So those are three quick things to kind of get you on the track for airport striping. Go make those connections, be careful on your estimates, and if you are fortunate enough to win one this year, go crush it. Make sure that you're doing a good job with those glass beads and that you're following all the regulations. Someone on the job site will help you with how to actually follow all the regulations and make sure everything goes smooth. In our experience, they're fantastic projects, and I really think that they're worth pursuing. So go build some connections with airport people in your market and go make some more money this year. So hopefully you find that helpful. Keep your stripes hot. Talk to you next week.